I can see by the darkness in your soul that you have chosen to disregard my warning. You are beyond the point of redemption. I cannot turn a blind eye to the fallen angel's abominable plan to foster the birth of a new demon. Delivering the menorahs to the labyrinth of Amala is just as grave a sin. Listen, fiend, foul demon whose soul is tainted with darkness. Tremble in fear. I am Metatron. I am one with God. By his divine will, I shall destroy you. Feel the wrath of God, disciple of darkness. Judgment, accursed spirit.
And on that note, welcome back to part 31 of Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, where today we're finally wrapping up the entirety of the Labyrinth of Amala, starting with the main boss of the entire event, Metatron. Firstly, I want to specify this because it's a grave mistake I made that somehow didn't bite me in the ass when it really should have. The Magatama you bring, similar to how Beelzebub will spam the hell out of dark instant kills, Metatron will spam the hell out of light-based instant kills. So make sure you're equipped with a Magatama that makes you immune to light, otherwise it will catch you eventually, probably. I forgot to swap Magatama. Like, I was aware that it had light on it, and I was aware that I needed a Magatama that had light on it, and I was aware that I was still equipped with Satan, which is straight up the opposite, it's weak to light. I just forgot to equip a different Magatama before going into this fight. So I still have Satan equipped in this fight. I'm immune to dark, but I am weak to light. Means the chance of the instant kills connecting with me is significantly higher than normal. The fact that I get through the entirety of this fight in one piece is nothing short of a miracle. But if anything, even though it's entirely luck-based, that does lead nicely into my conversation point of I find Metatron to be significantly easier than Beelzebub. I've always had more trouble fighting Beelzebub than I ever have done Metatron. And it's because Metatron is a lot more... I think the best way to put it is it's more well-rounded, this fight. Like, it has a better, like, balance of attack and defense to make it a more even challenge, but not a annoying one like Beelzebub can be, with what specifically Beelzebub can resist and throw back at you. Like, you're not going to be hit with status conditions that much during this fight. Metatron's very much just a, I'm going to spam Mahamon on you. And then in the second half of the fight, I'm going to spam other light skills on you. And hope that it works. Like, this dude's like, you will feel the divine light, one way or another. And it just keeps on not working. But what also helps is because Cerberus's strength is through the roof now, I can have Cerberus attack essentially every single turn with Iron Claw and get some easy damage out. Because it's got a very high hit rate and a very high crit rate. It's not full on 100%, it will still miss every now and then, and it still won't crit every now and then. But it's a pretty strong, well-rounded physical skill, so using it every turn just makes sense. This holy right hand of God does have access to both the Kaja and the Kunda, which can also be a little bit of a nuisance. But as I've said with Beelzebub, bosses coming equipped with that is something you should come to expect at this point. But it doesn't mean you should steer away from using those busts and nerfs, because there's no reason to not have Warcry and Fog Breath by now, and they can do so much work for you to help make the fight easier. But because this guy's barely using any actual attacks other than light spam, I eventually decide to just go on the offensive and stop worrying about lowering its attack. Like, Mega DeLeon is a threat, absolutely, but at the same time, with its hit and evasion being so low, I can just top up the healing afterwards. So I eventually decide to just kind of not completely ignore Warcry, but definitely put Warcry to the side a little bit more as the fight goes on. Because there's just other things that become more logical to do. Boosting physical attack is not a bad idea. As I pass my turn, I just really wanted an extra attack in, I suppose. I was hoping for a crit, I imagine. But immediately missed. Additionally, I've got all my windows closed, so hopefully you won't hear it too bad. But about 4 or 5 houses down from me, there's a lot of construction going on, a lot of like drilling in the ground. So it might pick up a little bit. So I've got all my windows closed, and when I did a test record, I couldn't hear anything. So hopefully that will carry through. But if you faintly hear anything in the background other than the usual static noise that you usually get in my videos, try not to give it too much of an extra thought. It's just construction going on down the road. But this video won't only be wrapping up the 5th Culper. It will be finally pressing on towards the diet building, and the video will end once we get there. Because it's just this fight and a cutscene, and then we're done with the Labyrinth of Amala entirely. I say that, there's still a couple of extra things I show off before we properly leave. But that'll be later. As it starts... Oh, after Mesotron gives you that voice line, a couple extra skills will be added to his arsenal. And most of them are still light-based, so if you've got a light-resistant or immune team, you're still in the clear. Like, realistically, the only demon that should be in threat of my party is Cerberus. And it's just through my own mental inability that Demi-Fiend is there as well. This motherfucker does have Debilitate, though, and I cannot stress enough how much you need to be wary of Debilitate. Debilitate, as I've said before, lowers every single stat by 1 level. It's a universal. So now everything's on -1, essentially, so I need to address that majorly to stand a better chance against this thing. And unfortunately, I don't have Dacunda, or a Dacunda Rock, which is baffling to me. I was like, how did I not have a single Dacunda Rock? So I put up a Magic Mirror, but it doesn't matter because Mega DeLeon doesn't count. And it's going to start boosting its magic and then using Mega DeLeon, so you need to get on top of boosting your defense, because otherwise, as you can see, it's going to start to become more and more threatening. Magic attack will be lowered with a good Warcry anyway, so it's not the end of the world if you can keep on top of that at least. But it's still a threat. Like, I probably should have had Daisojo Warcry and Lakeshmi heal instead. But I think I was just on the apply the buffs over hitting the nerfs. As it makes itself more threatening again. But this fight's nowhere near as long as Beelzebub will be anyway. Even if it can be quite threatening at points. And the music's great too. And like, I know, as I've said in the other video, that I don't get to talk about the music as much in this because the audio's muted when you record off PS5, when you use the Share Factory even for some stupid reason. And I really wish they'd give you an option to change that because I like being able to hear it as I go. It's easier to talk over if I can hear what's going on. I like the track because it's very fitting. It's slow, it feels lawful, it feels representative of like this divine angel, this right hand of God. It just sticks with me. It's not my favorite lore boss based theme. SMT4's Archangel theme is my favorite because that's just that track especially is so good. I don't know why it's DLC. That's the only thing that still bugs me with SMT4. Like in SMT4 Apocalypse, it feels like they got away with it a little bit more because it felt more like that the DLC stories were optional side things. But the 2 DLCs for Base 4, both of them felt like they really should have been in the base game. And one of them was getting to fight the 4 Archangels. And they had their own unique boss theme when you fought against them. And it's like literally the best angel-based boss theme in the series, in my opinion. I love how hauntingly terrifying yet still lawful it feels. That you have this very deep, foreboding hallelujah echoing throughout the track. Like it feels like these are the angels that have turned against you now, sort of thing. It's a shame that game doesn't really have like an actual proper chaos-based theme. Like you don't fight Beelzebub and get a unique theme for it. You fight Lucifer in 4, and Lucifer has its own theme, but it's not the same. It's not like a proper, like, chaos battle theme sort of thing. It just feels like the Lucifer track. Whilst the Archangels feel like a lore battle theme. And I hope they lean more back into that in 5. And it looks like they are to an extent, because they keep on showing, like, clashes between angels and demons more directly. So I'm hoping there'll be a point where we fight, like, a major representative of lore, and they get their own boss theme, and then a major representative of chaos, and they get their own boss theme. Just more so because it's a chance for more nods, because in the opening cutscene to fighting Metatron, and the opening cutscene for Beelzebub, the track that plays is actually a remix of the original theme of chaos and lore from SMT 1. And it's something that I'd wish was more common knowledge, but it is like just a nice little reference that they have. That when you walk into this room, the track that plays during the cutscene is the actual lore theme from SMT1. And when you walk into Beelzebub's room in the 4, it's the chaos theme from 1. Like during that cutscene. And it's something that SMT3 and 4 do a fair amount. Like, there's a lot of subtle references and Easter eggs in the music to previous titles. Which kind of baffles me that it's only SMT that does it, and Persona haven't jumped on that bandwagon that much, if at all. Like, they don't have tracks that reference Persona 1 and 2, like, at all in Persona 3, 4, and 5. I think the only 1 and 2 reference that exists isn't even a Persona 1 room, it's only Persona 2. And that's the computer-based social link in Persona 3. Outside of that, it feels like Persona 1 and 2, sorry, are completely ignored. Which I know just adds to the constant joke that it feels like Atlas have just forgotten Persona 1 and 2 exist. But it's still just a shame, because those games is what paved the path for the rest to go anyway. And I've gone on record for saying quite regularly that Persona 2 is like one of my favourite Personas. I find it far more enjoyable than Persona 3, that's for fucking sure. It's a tighter experience that has more control of what it wants to do with its characters, has better gameplay that gives you the freedom to use your entire party from the start. There's no compromises, there's unique alternate endings and paths you can go that feel like they're all stand on their own footing and aren't just, this one's the good ending, the rest can go screw themselves. It feels like everything matters in Persona 2, and it just doesn't in the same extent in 3. 3 just has amazing character writing. And great music on its side, but it's like, no, come on, reference 1 and 2. But now we're entering that third phase of Metatron. So Metatron is more of the same. It just says one particular skill and he hasn't used it yet, and I'm waiting for him to actually use it so I can point it out. Because it's a group-wide light-based attack, but it will do damage beyond the chance of an instant kill. Which is part of the reason, you know, other than the fact of not wanting to attack instant kills, I can highly recommend, you know, equipping any Magatama that makes you immune to light. Because then you'll be saved from that damage as well. Is this it? No, it's another Megadalayan. But this Metatron really doesn't have too much left. Like, I know it's a chunky fight still, to an extent. Like, same with Beelzebub, how that was a very chunky fight. It's just not insanely chunky. It's not to the same extent. Oh, here it is, Fire Sinai. Oh, it's Almighty, my mistake. So it hit anyway, but I'm sure it had I might be just getting muddled with another boss. There's a boss later on that also uses light skills a fair amount. I might just be mistaking the two. But that's Metatron's ultimate skill. And that is the one you need to be like the most wary of in this last phase of the fight, because it hurts like hell. Especially if it follows it up after like a debilitate or something, it can really catch you unawares. God, I'm glad this thing doesn't have Beast Eye or Dragon Eye, actually, now I think about it. Can you imagine if it just had one of them and started double stacking its magic and then using Megadalayan? This fight would be an entirely different beast. But the MP is starting to run low party-wide, which is problematic because it means we're going to start running out of easy stat busts and stat nurse. Which is why I start contemplating and using a Chakra Pot just to get Lakeshmi back up to snuff. Because Cerberus is fine, because Cerberus is like an Iron Claw. And the reason why I didn't there is because I was getting slightly annoyed that Iron Claw kept missing. So I was like, you know, I'll just use a basic attack since it has its basic attacks have like one of the highest hit rates in the game. So I could just like take secure damage even if it's less likely to be crit, and it's going to do less. just until I can nerf its hit and evasion a lot more. And maybe boost mine a bit. But hopefully, even if this strategy isn't perfect, if you're watching this, you feel a little bit more relieved that the giant robotic angel of doom at the end really is manageable. And it's something that I hope this entire Let's Play as a whole showcases. Oh, there it is. That's the skill I was thinking of, Holy Wrath. That's the group-wide, like, light skill that will also do damage as well as try to kill. Making it its most threatening attack because it will hurt and instant kill if it can. I knew it was there somewhere. I was getting concerned then. I was like, am I mistaking it for another boss? Yeah. But anyway, I hope this Let's Play, other than convincing you guys to even give this old game a shot, because it is, in my opinion, like a cult classic sort of situation, in my way, where it's like this old game from 2003 that just has so much going for it, so much content, so much... Like, I'm not even going to be exploring the other 5 endings in the game. I'm just going for the true demon ending. But there's so much to this game. Like, we've barely scratched the surface in how many demons you can see in this game. In fact, I can tell you right now, by the time when we finish, I looked back through the recording, looked at the compendium, we witness about, I want to say, 50 to 53% of all the demons in this game. About half the demons in this game we never see. So there is so much more to this game than what this Let's Play will show you. And I cannot recommend it enough. It's difficult, don't get me wrong, but just give it a shot. You might find something you very much enjoy here, and I hope that through my Let's Play, because this game is rather infamous for its difficulty, I can show you through my Let's Play that even with subpar builds, you can absolutely find your way through. I mean, I think the closest call we had was Matador and Dante Fight 1. Every other fight since then hasn't been too bad, really. Even the longer ones like Beelzebub, we still managed to get more of a pattern with it and get through it without many close calls. At this point, I'm spamming a bit more because I know the fight's nearly over. I know this thing's nearly dead, so I'm just like, look, it'll probably die in the attack now. Which is why I'm just going so much more on the aggressive. So I'm just like, look, it's got like less than 1,000 easily. So 1 or 2 more turns, it's gone. Oh, that's still not enough. It's like it's so nearly done. Like, its arms have lowered and it's staggering. It's so nearly there. Like, in my mind, it has to have around like 200 or 300 HP at max now. Which is why I'm just so aggressive on just attack. Oh, I actually used a fog breath. Oh, I guess that was just because it got rid of its stat nerf, so I didn't want an Iron Claw to miss at this stage. Really? Did I really play it that safe? My goodness. I don't think I needed to do that. I think it will die like in a couple turns. Wow, I really wanted to play it safe apparently past me. I'm really surprised by that. I would have thought I would have carried on pushing for the kill. I usually would. I would have just gone full balls to the wall kill. Because I'm expecting literally any attack to do the job. Come on past me. Just wrap this party up. So I want to talk about your... I want to talk about the main reward. Because obviously the main reward per se is that you get the access to the true demon ending and the true final boss of the game. But there's a little reward that also comes with it as just like a little nudge. There we go. There goes Metatron. A little nudge in your direction to try and say, yeah, well done. This is the reward you might actually appreciate on your journey, other than just getting a new ending. But I don't really... although I've talked about it at great lengths, I kind of want to break it down more properly once we get it. And the Pisaka... The reason why Pisaka levels up is because it has a skill that comes with it that means it gets excess experience from fights it's not a part of. So get used to seeing that pop up and level screen. So when we get higher up, that thing's a super low level. And it just keeps on getting levels it doesn't deserve. Because I'm never using it. But you can proceed onwards afterwards. You don't really need to heal. It's just in that odd little corridor space there. You might get an encounter you weren't expecting. But now when you hop down here into B6, You are straight up in the space we were in when we started the tutorial at the very beginning of the game. Like, we ran through here, there was an item to the side, and that's all you could talk to. We had our first tutorial fight here, went through the door. If you went right, it led to a medicine chest. Which now there's a soul, which I think that's the soul that'll take you out. No, as a master request, I've been waiting for you. Yours is in existence, unbound by this world. If you step back to God, well, if history repeats itself. I have thoughts about this great length. May I ask you a question? Sure, dude. Very well. It is true that living things must perish. Bound by the universal threads of fate, humans die. Does that seem fair to you? You lost a loved one by a horrible accident. Would you curse God? There's no need to answer, but if you feel this fate has cheated you, then go see our master. Yes. Thou long frozen, time shall be... Or some... Fuck! Past me! I didn't really want to... I just kind of glanced through that. Past me just kind of just read it. I wasn't planning on reading that out loud. I was just kind of texting it. But that dude's basically saying, this is your last chance. If you don't want the true demon ending, turn around now. Just the moment you accept this lift, you are locked into the true demon ending because of the cutscene you will soon witness.
You are here at last. We have long awaited this moment in the everlasting flow of Amala. You have retrieved all of the menorahs and triumphed over the mightiest warrior of light. You are the demon that we have been waiting for. Did you hear that? All of the demons are celebrating the birth of the new demon of darkness, hoping that you and the fallen angel will break their chains and defeat the Absolute One. There is no turning back. We, the ones cast into darkness, shall face those that live in the light. The final battle is about to begin. But first, you must return to your world and increase your strength by defeating the humans who are vying for control, and Kagutsuchi, the source of creation. A man who envisions a world of silence. Ahriman, god of the void, lends him strength. A young woman who values power above all else. The god Baal Avatar has descended upon her. A young man yearning to live in solitude. His strength comes from Noah, the wandering god. And Kagutsuchi, the light that watches over the Vortex world, as well as creation. When you have defeated those foes, you will be accepted and honored by us all. My master would like to help you prepare for the forthcoming battles by sharing a portion of his strength. He shall release the hidden power of the Magatama that you have received. You, who have cast away your human form, and as a fiend, conquered all deaths. You were given the body of a demon when you entered the Vortex world. And now, it is time for you to receive the heart of a demon, as my master wishes. You shall be born again, as a demon of chaos, harbinger of the final battle. to the one who bears our strength and hope. May you forever prevail.
Go to where Kagutsuchi awaits. Show me the beginning.
And at that note, we wake up back where we all started at the Shinjuku Medical Center. No longer half human, half demon. We are a fully born demon and are destined to square off against God in the final battle. As a right-hand man of Lucifer and a leader of demonkind. Additionally, the very first Magatama of the game, the one you started with, now has the ability to earn its final skill, that being Pierce. Pierce will make it so no physical attack that in the game that is resisted or blocked is safe from your wrath. If you use a physical attack on a demon that resists or blocks it, it will go straight through and do full damage. It's ignorant of defenses of any kind. But back in the 5th Kalpa on B2, there is this secret treasure door I talked about that now you can fully open and explore. Because you are now a true demon, and so since the door only allows true demons in, you can do so. You get 25 lucky tickets, so that's 2 free pull-ins at the shop, 3 death stones, which might be your final 3. I'm still missing 2 at this point, I believe, and I get both of them off screen because they're both from the other rooms on the 3rd Kalpa, where you need to have certain stats at certain points. 4 jades, which is amazing for stat growth, and there's 2 more rewards as well. But we finally get Pierce as well, and I spend a little while trying to debate what to get rid of, and I can't remember if it's this or when I get a skill later on that finally leads me abandoning counter. But it's one of them. Yeah, I think it's now. I think counter goes now because counter starts to run out of worth. God, you can see I think about it for a while. Yeah, I'm pretty sure now I get rid of counter. You can see I debated for a long ass while. I'm looking, it's like, okay, what do I actually not care about? Tempest I'm straight up replacing with Deadly Fury once I get it. And I need 1 more space after Pierce. Oh, I give up Might. Wow. Good. I was going to say, God, I really debated that. So I know I give off Might eventually, because we get a skill later on that almost has a 100% crit rate. But now that we have Pierce, I immediately swap back to Satan to try and grind out getting towards Deadly Fury. But so with Pierce, we are safe to pretty much physically attack anything as long as it's not reflected. We will just smack them and it will hit hard. There's 150,000 marker as well for your trouble, which will go towards buying that last Magatama. Since, like I said, we will need to purchase it once we get there. 3 whole magic incenses. And I still have that strength incense from earlier. I just completely forgot about it. And I think I use all 3 of them on me. Do I do I use all 3 of them on me, or do I balance it out a little? Well, the Lakeshmi is 1 point short, so I can use 1 on her, which is what I think I do. Just because I know she's going to be in the final party, so I don't mind doing that. Yeah, I do use 1 on her. Okay. Do I use the last 2 on me? Yes, I do. And the strength incense is pointless, so I need to give it to someone else, so I put it on Daisojo. Because Lakeshmi is 100% magic based. And now here's what we're looking at now. Lakeshmi with 40 magic, Cerberus with 40 strength, and Daisojo is pretty well rounded. Not as well rounded as he will be by the end. I give him some Mitamas later on, once we got a bit more money together to help boost him up to make him a lot better in that well-roundedness. So I essentially want Daisojo to just be, well, that middle ground piece. But now we are done, all the way back in that Yurakusho station, which we were last in like 5 videos ago, where we got that Magatama and fought against Trumpeter. It's the one where if you leave from Ginza, go across the entirety of the bridge, and in the top left corner, it's up there. Firstly, I need to show something else that was lost in those 90 seconds of footage I lost beforehand, which is this room. This little room, if you go east instead of west, has like 3 or 4 item boxes. None of them are particularly special per se, but I didn't get to show them, so I run into this room to kind of show you where they all are. And unfortunately, I think these guys reflect physical, so my immediate wanting to demonstrate Pierce was out the window, because I would have loved to have smacked these guys and how annoying they can be. Well, I say that, I didn't even get around to Demi-Fiend's turn to take that risk. But this is also the last subway tunnel mini dungeon of the game. And I'm glad, because it's like, these dungeons, in my opinion, are the most boring dungeons in the game. And so I'm glad that after the first one, the second and third are super tiny. Because that first one, the only reason the first one's long is because of the bosses. If the bosses weren't there and you're just trying to get through it, you'd be done in no time at all. But I just don't find these dungeons interesting. I get that they have to find a way to bridge the gap from place to place, but they could have thought of something else other than just subway dungeons. Because like I said, it does genuinely start to just dull on you after a while. So I just saw a human woman. She was headed for Kasumi Gaseki. She was creepy, like she was possessed by something. She was hot though. Good for you, man. She's talking about our teacher with the parasite god. Well, the parasite-looking god still on her face. Because she's also pressing towards the diet building to try and get to Hikawa. And this mini dungeon, you're going to see me kind of lose my bearings a little bit going through. Because I know where I need to go to get through it. I just forget, essentially. I just forgot that I did a practice run of this little bit because I wanted to get it, make sure it was done properly and whatnot. But essentially, there's a maze, and it's not like a proper warp maze. The way it works is that there's a bunch of slopes everywhere. And these slopes, you will go down them, but you cannot go up them. So it's like a bunch of one-way paths, and you have to find the right set of one-way paths to get through it. See, there's the slide. You end up at the bottom, you can't go back up. But what's annoying here is that my notes, I don't know if I just read it wrong at the time, but my notes that I made, I missed steps somewhere when I was writing the notes down. And because I missed a step, I came back like a week or two later to record this. This is me reading my notes and going, wait a minute, what? Am I missing something? Because I just said go west from the slope. And so I'm following it along and I'm like, am I missing something? And it's like, that's not even the bit that I'm missing. I'm missing more like later on, but I end up just eventually stop looking at my notes and go, you know what, I'll just wing it, and if I get really like lost in my path, I will just edit it out. And thankfully I mostly find my way through, but that chest there was the ultimate signal to me that I had missed something, because I open a different item box first in my notes. I opened that one second, so when I opened that one, I was like, oh okay, I have missed something in my notes, whether it's just misreading a line or something else. So I decide from this point to just put my notebook down and say, you know what, I'm just going to wing it, pick a direction, and see where it takes me. Because I think I went this way first and then backtracked for the item. Which I suppose worked out in the long run that I went that way first, but still. Oh, you want me to join you? I see. The Fleet is thinking. Having some marker. Look how much marker we have from the dungeon crawling. My goodness. You know what to do. Fleet's not do. And then maybe give me a chakra drop. Alright, before I join you, answer me this. Tell me the truth. What do you think of us Yomas? Yeah, I like you. You're cool. Yeah, get away from me. This is getting boring. Well, you've already paid a big price. That I appreciate. Most of the Yoma tribe, or like the Yoma group of demons, if you spend a lot of resources to try and convince them, they won't care too much for your answer. But he wanted hatred. If I'm that one. But I kept that in because it's another demons added to the compendium for my grind up. Eventually. God damn it. Oh, okay. It's the Gogmagog. That thing on the end, that water dude on the end, is Gogmagog. I love the name. He's one of those demons where I just never forget his name, because every time I hear him, I'm like, oh, there's Gogmagog. Although I also get into a bit of an unhealthy habit of just using Megadeleon a lot with Cerberus. And I say unhealthy, because you're not learning any element weakness or resistance, and just spending a lot of MP. The only reason I get away with it, as my throat starts dying a little bit, is because of mana refill. So as I'm running, I'm getting that mana back. So as long as I don't have an encounter like 2 steps after the last, I can be a little spammy on Mega Delay on and be safe. But here's another instance of me just kind of going, wait, which way am I going? Where I'm just feeling it out instead of following my notes anymore. Which makes it a little looser, but I clean it up in the diet building. The diet building, I know almost exactly where I'm going. I say almost, but there's one section about halfway through where I usually get a tad muddled even after following notes. But for the most part, it's pretty standard and pretty straightforward, the diet building, so I can just power through it as I go. But there I am again, popping off with the Mega Delayan. And with Vakeshmi having max magic, her Miragi Dines hit hard too. And so all in all, it becomes a very powerful team that we have right now. Like I said, this team that we have is what I'm carrying through for the rest of the journey. Because they just work the magic I need. Daisojo covers the more general bases and is pretty good at being a constant heal and pressure. Lakeshmi is the proper mage, but also has some healing and some buffs and nerfs. And Cerberus is the physical coverance, but is also equipped with Mega Delayon just in case. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that's the best possible team you could ever have. There's eons better teams than what I have. And I thoroughly recommend, as I've done all Let's Play, to keep on experimenting until you find something you're happy with. Even when you're in the final dungeon, if it so suits you. It's just me with my way of just... I find my comfort zone and I tend to stick with it. That I don't do too much more fusing beyond this, and all of them never make team replacements worthy enough to go in the place of what I have. That Mothman kind of ended up sealing the deal of whatever member I fused off of it was probably going to end up being a mainstay. Because that Mothman we got in the 4th Kalpa that had like all the Dines and Mega Delayon, it's like that was a no-brainer. Whatever I fused that into was going to end up sticking around. But in this room, it's kind of... I think this is the right room I'm thinking of. It's a giant circle with 4 slopes dropping into the middle. And the reason why this is significant to mention is because some of the slopes will lead you to a trap warp instead. And if you take the trap warp, you'll just end up in the next section and miss an item. So you need to go to the furthest away from us per se. There's a locked door, but don't treat that as the furthest. You need to go to the one on the opposite wall. So don't go down that one. I checked this door just to be safe, but you can't open this one either, because that's a one-way door. Which is where you'll end up on the other side of the warp, by the way, that door. But it's also the way forward. You need to go around here, and then it's the south path, I believe, from here that will drop us in. Also, I checked this door first, which is a dead end, unfortunately. Yeah, complete dead end. Then that's just more of me just feeling it out as I go. But if you drop down here, you won't be warped away from the trap floors that are elsewhere. So you can open this mystic chest and get a bead of life, which is amazing. Then just pick any other direction. I go west, and it will warp you elsewhere. And from here, you can feel your way out from the rest of the dungeon, because I said it is short. It just took a bit longer because I lost my bearings and my notes wasn't helping. And make sure to nab this on your way through. You never know. I get a pearl out of it, but you never know. You might get... That might be a agility incense or a luck incense for all you know. And also, some of the encounters in here ended up taking a while, so I'm glad that I got to edit out a lot of them, because they were only against demons we fought before. Because this video was like 59 minutes long when I first put it all together, which isn't as bad as some of the other videos, admittedly, but it was still a bit like, ugh. So being able to break it down to 45 minutes is always appreciated. Especially because this project... It was never my intention, but every time I start editing pieces together and look through it, this project's very much turned into the one where every video is giant. But wait, I don't wish to die here, spare me. If you life exchange for knowledge. Yup. The demons that show signs of change when they become strong. Oh, right, it's telling me about evolution. Okay, goodbye, Cerberus. That was worth it. It's kind of annoying that when demons say, spare me for I'll give you information, the information is always beginner tutorial stuff. It's never, oh, there's a specific loot, like a rare loot that you can find in X dungeon. Like, if he said, oh, if you've got 25 strength, you can get access to a special door in Mantra HQ. That would be cool knowledge. Or if they explain to you a side quest that you have to go out of your way to find, that would be cool knowledge. But no, they don't, and it's never that. It's also, hey, did you know you can fuse demons in an Atlas title? Do you know that demons evolve in SMT? Like, some demons can evolve if you level them up enough. I said the SMT4 Apocalypse was always the biggest example of that for me. That one always kind of blew my mind, where you get Angel and it evolves like 8 goddamn times back to Angel at the end. But it's like, but it's a different version, because there's 2 versions of Angel in SMT4. There's like this one dressed in white, and it's like borderline naked, and its hair's covering its, like, covering stuff that sort of censorship doesn't have to. And then there's another one that's like in like black, almost like sadistic clothing, like dominatrix clothing. And like the black clothing version of Angel is the version you get once it's like level 80 something, but you get the like the normal version of Angel at like level 8 or 9. And it's as if you keep that Angel around, it just keeps on evolving and keeps on getting new skills. And it's not an endgame demon per se, but it will last you a good while. Like, it lasted me most of 4 Apocalypse because it just kept on evolving and getting new skills. If you get in the way of Commander Hikawa, or are you here to help Commander Hikawa? No, he can go fuck himself. Then you really should stay away. Like, with snuffed out, demons grow restless. But now we're here, we are at the end of the final subway mini dungeon. And there's only 2 main dungeons left in the entire game, and 1 dungeon left of this act per se. The Diet Building is what we are approaching, and it's the 3rd and final, like, Act 3 dungeon. Well, in terms of my considerations of the acts. As we will see Hikawa gain his reason. And we already kind of got teased about it, accidentally, through the Lady in Black's final explanation in that last scene. In the 5th Kalpa, where she explained about the 3 reasons. She talked about Ahriman. Well, it's because they kind of half expect you to do the Diet Building first, because Ahriman is introduced in that dungeon. But we got treat it as just a bit of a tease. I never really treated it as anything else than that. On my blind playthrough, I did it that way round, and I never went, oh god, they spoiled it. No, I never really saw it that way. I just went more as a tease, because you only see like that still image. And especially on the PS2 original, that quality of those still images was terrible. But when you come out, you can see the Amala Temple there. I said that we will be in this zone one other time, other than when we were there for the Amala Temple, and it's because of the Diet Building. Once you get out of here, you just proceed. Well, firstly, there's that item there, but if you proceed north, you will go towards the Diet Building. And if you're not that well versed in Japan's culture, the Diet Building's like the most prominent governmental building in Tokyo. Like, it's where every, like, governmental decision is made, essentially. It is, like, where it's voted upon and yada yada. Like, it is an extremely significant building. And so the fact that they made this, essentially, like, the last normal dungeon of the game, is kind of fitting. But once you enter, you're immediately warned of what's here. Because of the status of this dungeon, there's not 1, not 2, but 4 goddamn bosses between us and the end of the dungeon. There's 3 statues around this room, and these statues will come alive and become bosses that you will fight as you proceed through the dungeon itself. You'll see that there's a 4th slot missing. Don't worry about that. We will fight that. I believe what is supposed to be that 4th slot later. But that being said, if you press straight up the stairs in front of you, there'll be a save room, and I'll be wrapping up there. So next time on Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, we will be clearing out the Diet Building to try and get to Hikawa. But until then, you guys take care now. Peace.